Hello everyone! Today I want to give my opinion on the new upcoming characters for patch 2.4 that were revealed on the Genshin livestream earlier, which you will also see in the background while I will talk about it. I actually haven't watched the whole thing yet, to be honest. I just got home from spending Christmas with my family, so I only skimmed through it and looked at the characters and banners pretty much. And for some reason I also became kind of an insomniac as well over the past few days. I don't know why. So I apologize in advance if this video will be a little bit of a fuck up. But yeah, speaking of fuck ups, actually, the first thing that I learned after checking Reddit when I came home was that this character apparently has two voice actors, and one being a traditional Chinese opera singer, which made some people unreasonably mad, I guess. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, partially because I'm not even sure if I actually understood how exactly that works. So if I play with the English voiceover, all her voice lines are English, and I assume during the story she will give a musical performance that's in Chinese, right? Is that all that there is to it? I mean, I dislike the singing, I can't say this much. I mean, we can listen to it here. I think it was here. Somewhere. Yeah. And the weird thing is, then she suddenly
As the saying goes,
turns to English.
you never truly know someone until you meet them in person.
I'm not sure if that's like how they intend to represent it and how it's in game, but I feel like it's not a big deal, but it might ruin the immersion a select few times when the character suddenly changes languages. But at the end of the day, yeah, like I said, I don't think it's a big deal. Though I have to say, I kind of pay attention to the story, but what I really like about this game is more like gameplay related, like exploring, combat, and building characters, of course. So I understand if some people are a little pissed off who are more into like the story side of things. But let's be real, at this point I would only be surprised if there's actually a live stream that pleases everyone. And with that being said, let's start by looking at Shenhe's skill kit. So this character is a cryo support character which scales of attack, and first you see her elemental skill. It summons a clone of herself, dealing cryo damage and granting a buff to your whole team, and pretty much when you deal damage in any way possible with any character, you deal extra cryo damage. And as you see here, it has two different animations. One is this little back dash with the AoE, and the other one is the little forward dash that looks like a charge attack with like spear characters like Rosaria or Hu Tao. And depending on which one you use, you get different buffs to your team as well. If you tap the skill, you get increased elemental skill and elemental burst skill damage, and if you hold the skill, you get increased normal attack, charged attack, and plunging attack damage. Plunging attack, yeah, it's kind of interesting that Zhao gets run at the same time, so maybe, we'll see. And now her elemental burst skill. It summons a talisman that deals periodic cryo damage inside its effect area, and it also lowers cryo and physical resistance. It also grants a cryo damage bonus. And that's pretty much it. Then she also has the passive skill that lowers the duration of leeway expeditions, which can be nice if you're looking for that. But in total, I feel like she will see mostly play in freeze teams with cryo main DPS like Ganyu or Ayaka, so it's more like a niche character in my opinion. She will probably be a good support to physical teams as well, but that depends on how big the number of those buffs on the elemental skill are, because there is already C6 Rosaria in that slot, which is already really strong with the crit chance buff. And again, Zhao, we aren't at this character yet, so let's go back. And again, Zhao Shenhe might be a thing, but honestly, that seems more like a meme to me. That plunging attack damage would need to be insane, like 20% or something. Otherwise, Shenhe does pretty much nothing else for him. Cryo Resonance is even hard to use for Zhao because he just swirls it off with his Anemo damage. And this is Yun Jin, a Geo support character, also a polearm character like Shenhe. I believe I forgot to mention that for her. And this one is actually defense scaling, or at least partially. They specifically mentioned it for her elemental burst skill. And what you see here is her elemental skill. You can hold it and she starts charging up and sets up a shield around herself, and when you release the button it performs an attack that deals geo damage based on your charge level. She has 2 levels, charge level 1 and charge level 2, and you can also do like a perfect counter, meaning if you just tap the button as you get hit, you instantly block and counter with charge level 2. Or in other words, it's the exact same skill as Beidou's, they just copied and pasted it, and it just deals geo damage instead. And now her Elemental Burst skill. Once active, it performs coordinated attacks with your active character's normal attacks. Sounds familiar? Yep. A certain pirate captain has a similar skill that deals electro damage instead, but jokes aside though, there's actually one big difference between Beidou and Yun Jin. They specifically mentioned that Yun Jin's burst deals damage based off her defense. Yeah, they continue the trend with defense scaling geo characters. I think you can get her for free even in patch 2.4 from a 4-star selector event reward, similar to the ones we had before, meaning if you get Ito and Goro now, you're ready to pick Yun Jin and get your 3rd defense scaling geo character, and all share the same artifact set, which makes farming actually quite easy. Will she be good though? She's basically the same character as Beidou. Beidou saw some love with the release of Inazuma and the Emblem of Severed Fate set, which might also be good on Yun Jin. So it's hard to say now, since pretty much all she does is deal damage with her Elemental Burst skill, and we obviously need to wait for her to come out and see that and test that. But the block mechanic is fairly unique and it's pretty fun in my opinion. So if you have Beidou, for example, just mess around with her a little. If you dislike her, I'd say there's almost no chance that you will enjoy playing Yun Jin. And now for team compositions, I go by the usual main DPS, 2 supports and a healer. Shenhe is obviously a support, so you need 1 of each in the remaining 3 slots. You could pick your main DPS like Child, for example. It already completes the freeze. Like I said, freeze comp is probably what you wanna do with Shenhe. And Child makes the last slots quite flexible. You could even pick something like this, but the downside is obviously the reason why you wanna play Shenhe and why you probably don't want Child is that she provides a cryo damage bonus. And the only good cryo main DPS are Ganyu and Ayaka in my opinion, which also means that Shenhe is quite the niche character since she only has 2 main DPS options. Ganyu obviously is really good with Venti. You obviously get your Viridescent set, and she groups up enemies to get more value on the Elemental Burst skill on her, and you get your freeze going by picking a Hydro healer. You could obviously have Kokomi or Barbara, so you just have to complete the puzzle pieces like this. You could also do it the other way around and pick your Hydro character as a support like Mona. She gets a huge damage multiplier, which is really nice, and you get your Viridescent set on your healer with, for example, Jean or Sayu. If you don't have Mona, you could obviously pick Jingshou as well. And then there's obviously the option that you don't want to or don't have a freeze team. And you could pick a physical team. She also provides a little bit of support there with her physical resistance lowering. You could pick Razor, you could pick Keqing, you get your Superconduct already going, and you could just finish the comp up with something like Zhongli and Bennett. If you don't have Zhongli, you could obviously pick something like Rosaria, or even she, I guess, buffs a little bit of physical damage, and you get your Pyro Resonance. But yeah, there are better options, to say the least. And you obviously also have the option to pick Eula, but you obviously still need your Superconduct, so you need to pick another Electro character, like for example this one, and you obviously finish up with your healer, probably Bennett again, which is most people's healer of choice. And then the last option, how you could play Shenhe, is depending on her elemental application rate to enable a melt comp, and I think this is very unlikely. So you would pick her with a Pyro main DPS like Kutao, Diluc, Klee, Yanfei, Yoimiya, but we gotta wait and see how fast she applies Cryo to make this actually a viable comp. And now for Yun Jin, pretty much the same concept. She is a support, so you're missing a main DPS, another support, and a healer. I think it's very straightforward, even though a lot of people think she is the opposite to Goro, as in you want to pick a lot of different elements and you get your benefits this way. I'm not sure if I missed it in the live stream, but I heard it somewhere, definitely. But I don't think it's good, because if you're picking a lot of different elements, you're likely doing an elemental reaction comms with a lot of damaging elemental reactions, like for example a national team or something. And I don't think you want to make your elemental reactions less reliable by throwing in a random Geo character that procs a lot of Geo shields. So I think you want to play a mono element team. For example, you throw in Zhongli to activate Geo Resonance, Zhao to deal damage as a main DPS and attack buff and heal with Bennett. Or you just do like a mono Geo team with, for example, Ito. Both of them are defense scaling, so you could pick your Goro and deal damage this way. Obviously any healer works. In this team, Bennett doesn't really provide a lot of value because they are all defense scaling. Diona activates Geo Resonance with her shield, which can be nice, but like I said, anything works. You could also address Arataki Ito's energy problems by picking something like Venti or even Raiden Shogun. Or you could just play a Ningguang comp with, for example, again, Raiden Shogun, because both of these characters deal a lot of damage with their, or hopefully a lot of damage with their Elemental Burst skill. And again, any healer works. Or, in theory, you could pick even just use her as like a off-field sub DPS and just pick like something like a physical main DPS, for example, like this. But I don't think this is very optimal. There are probably better sub DPS out there. Alright, I think this video is already really long, so I'm only going really briefly over weapon options and artifacts. Both are pole support characters, so energy recharge is usually something they need to get off their elemental bursts. So the catch could be really good, especially on Yun Jin, because she is very centered around her elemental burst skill, I think. I don't know why they used the Dragon's Bane on the artwork for her, but I don't see how Elemental Mastery is ever good on a Geo character. So otherwise, beside the catch, it's the Favonius Lance or the Sacrificial Lance. For artifact sets, the Emblem of Severed Fate set could be good. For Yun Jin, definitely, maybe even the Husk set of Opulent Dreams, because she is defense scaling. And for Shenhe, if you're using her in a freeze comp, the Blizzard Estrella set is obviously really good. And with this, we actually made it to the end. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this helped you decide if you want to wish for these characters. Stay tuned for the next video. Have fun and have it, and bye bye.